shit. That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
Welcome to Higher Ed Pulse, your Monday morning energizer covering insights and trends in higher ed marketing and enrollment. I'm Mallory Willsea, bringing over 15 years of edtech and marketing expertise to your earbuds.
And I'm Seth Odell, joining the Pulse with my own adventures from leading marketing at top universities to founding Kanahoma, one of the industry's fastest growing digital marketing agencies.
Each week, we bring you the kind of insider insights you typically only find over cocktails with your pals at a conference.
It's fast, it's fun, and it's designed for you, the busy higher ed professional.
You're not just listening to another podcast.
You're checking the pulse of higher education.
Higher Ed Pulse is part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher ed professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. We're here live at HighEdWeb. I'm sitting across from Melanie Lindahl, the senior UX/web designer/developer/project manager. Yep, that's a lot of hats at the University of Texas at Austin School of Law. Melanie, thanks so much for spending a few minutes to chat with us on Enrollify today. But let's go back to your title for a second. That's a lot of hats. Please tell me how you were motivated to pursue a career in web development and UX and project management and design.
Yeah, it is kind of a lot. And I'm not sure I actually realized that until you said that. So, I'm an artist and the web designing part came very naturally, but I'm also a very meticulous person. And so doing coding really fits the personality that I have. But I'm also a strong leader and I love organization. So project management really spoke to me. And yeah, just kind of eventually it rolled all into one.
So tell me a little bit more about the team that you work on. And the reason I'm asking is you actually were just sitting in a presentation that I had the honor of moderating, a women in leadership panel and how to develop grit and grace when you are in these very male-dominated spaces. And something tells me you may find yourself in that space. So talk to me about that team and, as a female on it, what are your experiences?
Yes. So I have my direct team is a team of 4. I'm the only woman. We have a larger IT group, which I am also the only woman. And I got to say that, my direct team of 4 is they're wonderful. They help me where they can. It's not the same as the camaraderie you're going to get with another female on your team. It's just not. Sorry, guys, it's not. But, they will advocate for me. But I do try to call attention to things when things come up, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about some microaggressions. My team does not have microaggressions that I have witnessed, so I will go ahead and say that. But I've worked on campus for 20 years, and I've experienced a lot of things. And the things that I, experience are things like men assuming that women don't know what they're talking about, even though they might be the leader in that area and have that authority to speak on that topic. For me, people have these strange reactions sometimes when I'm firm or direct, and I am that kind of person, but females are nice and they smile, right? So, I witness that, visceral reactions people have, physical reactions. I'm like, interesting. What did I just say that was so alarming to you? Is it because I'm a woman saying that? I don't know. I've seen people take other people's credit, men taking women's credit. I see women getting sidelined. I see them obviously getting paid less, of course. And one of the things that I've seen more of recently is the words that men use to describe females at work. They might be female leadership. I don't think they realize what's happening. I think that's indicating how deep-rooted it is in our culture, and that's problematic. So it'll be, here's an example. A man was telling me about a meeting, I think it was, and how the female leadership was maniacally asking about something. And that really caught me off guard. I am 100% confident they would not have used the adjective maniacally if a man had been asking a question a couple of times, maybe 3 times. My guess is she's asking it because you're not answering it, or the answer is not correct, or I don't know, whatever it was. I wasn't there. But just stuff like that, those little microaggressions that aren't big enough to bring up on their own, but collectively they really hurt.
Wow. There was a moment in the panel conversation where this idea that the words we're choosing really matter, and hearing you kind of echo that, I mean, yeah, every word that we're choosing really matters. And I experience microaggressions fairly frequently as well in all aspects of life. And so I can really empathize with that. And I think there's definitely opportunity for the men that we work with to be educated around some of this stuff.
I think a large part of my role with handling this is knowing when to stand up. And that's hard when they're small things, right? And I have 3 girls, so I tell them all the time, you know, are you standing up for that person, or what are you doing in that situation? And they tell me, Mom, it's scary to stand up when that person's older than you or they have more authority. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. Am I even doing that? And so it's a real humbling realization that, wow, I don't know if I'm practicing the talk that I'm giving my kids.
Since you work on a team of men, are there any support groups or systems within the institution that are designed, you know, to help women who are leaders or just in these more male-dominated spaces find some community and camaraderie?
You know, maybe there are. I've wanted to start a women's group, even in my own department, but as Title IX mandatory reporters, that gets real tricky, because if somebody says something, you're obligated to report it. It may be super fuzzy, you know, it's not always cut and dry. And, you know, so what, we have to speak in hypotheticals the whole time, or just not say anything, or risk, you know, having stress about, are they going to report that? Do they have to report that? Like, I've had talks with other females, and it's like, hold up, remember, we're mandatory reporters. Be careful about what you say. I think that's really hurtful, and it actually feels like it's more harmful, right? I don't know. I don't know how to solve Title IX, if there is something to solve. I just know that I would like to start a women's group, but I'm honestly not sure if that's the best idea.
That's really tricky, Melanie. And I'm putting myself maybe into the shoes of that early career professional who's a young female entering into the university and maybe experiencing some of the things that you have put words to in this, you know, throughout this interview. I'm curious to hear what advice you would give that woman.
Well, first of all, there's a really good book called The Feminist Fight Club. I adore this book. It gives very detailed examples of what you can do when certain things happen. And then it goes into backup ideas and even more backup ideas. So it really is a concrete way to work through problems. I've used those tactics during negotiations, and it's wonderful. So I definitely recommend reading that, listening to the audiobook, whatever it is. The other advice would be it's so scary, but to stand up for yourself. It's so scary because you don't know what harm is going to come to you. But it really is important, and you're probably going to be your best advocate. And you might even be your only advocate. So just keep advocating for yourself.
That is really tricky, especially when you sometimes feel like you are advocating for yourself and yet you're getting nowhere. And boy, have I experienced that one. Melanie, this has been such an incredible event. I know you had a presentation here, and so thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Any parting thoughts as we wrap up this conversation today?
So one thing that I've noticed with this community, the HighEdWeb community, soon to be the Digital Collegium or DigiCol community, is that it is very inclusive. It is very understanding. It is a place where I feel heard and I feel safe. So anybody entering this field, please join this community.
You were so thoughtful, and I +1 everything you just said on that. The HighEdWeb community is incredible. And, and I said it in my session too, but I really appreciate that this conference was willing to make space in their program to have conversations about what it is like to be a woman working in these male-dominated spaces. So kudos to HighEdWeb for creating the space for that conversation. Kudos to you, Melanie, for, being brave and speaking about this with me today on this podcast. Thank you so much. Listeners, that is a wrap from HighEdWeb. What a note to end on. Absolutely incredible. Until next time, we'll see you soon. The HighEdWeb Pulse is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too. Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional. Our show helps higher ed marketers and admission pros find their next big idea and features a selection of the industry's best as your hosts. Learn from Brian Gross, Eddie Francis, Jenny Lee Fowler, and so many of your favorite leaders in higher ed. Enrollify is made possible by Element 451, the next generation AI student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful and personalized interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.